Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of The Missing Link. I am so excited to be here. And of course, hello to everyone that is tuned in. Hello to everyone that is in the chat. And hello to everyone that's going to be watching the replay. Today, I have the amazing Rashid _the Car God with me. And you guys might actually know him from Ready to Love, the Last Resort season. As well. He's all over social media, and I think on every Mondays he has something amazing, an amazing message for everyone that follows him on social media. So if not, make sure you guys follow him because I know I wait for them. I know I've reposted a couple in my story. So
yeah, you have reposted. So
yeah, absolutely. So
thank you so much.
Thank you for being here with me. Thank you. Period.
Yeah, sure.
I appreciate
Not a problem. When you extended the invite, I was no problem accepting. So we had to work out a few dates, but I love what you're doing. So absolutely, I support those who support me, and I support those that I think they're doing good things. So it's easy to accept the invite.
Thank you so much.
Sure,
All right,
sure.
so as
and
everyone,
you were dope on the show too. You know, I think you did a good job carrying yourself as well.
Thank you. And every time I hear that, and I know that's not even part of this, but every time I hear that, it's so amazing to me because I did it for me. I didn't even do it for like the show. So I appreciate you for even saying that to me. I just was being myself, and I was just being true to myself. And the acknowledgement means the world to me. So I appreciate that.
Sure.
All right, so everybody that watches The Missing Link knows that I like to get right into it. I have a lot of questions, and it's a lot of things that I want to know. So I'm sure it's a lot of things that you guys want to know too. And I hope that I have some amazing questions, and Rashid is going to give us some amazing answers. So here we go. The very first question I have for you, Rashid, is who is Rashid Floyd?
Man, that's a difficult question, but I'm not complicated though. It's not a difficult. It's not a complicated answer. It's a long answer. But at the end of the day, I'm just a normal guy, born and raised in Houston, Texas, living in my hometown, which is rare. You got a lot of transplants that live here now. But just a normal kid from Houston, Texas, raised by a single mom. Had a dad in my life, but they divorced at a very early age. Had role models, had a great grandfather who kind of guided me in the right direction. And I've always just been a humble kid, always a hard worker, always been kind of groomed to be that and be a man and stand on my own 2 feet and just kind of, I don't take life too serious. I'm a pretty, I'm a pretty lighthearted guy, but I'm always thinking about what's next, and the glass is always half full for me. So other than that, now I'm a dad, which comes most important in my life. I'm an entrepreneur, and I try to be a good partner, a good dad, a good son, good friend, good uncle, the whole 9 yards. So that's about it.
Yeah, that's a lot, and that's good. People are like, oh, it ain't nothing. No, that's to me that's amazing because I know sometimes I tell my story and I say who I am, and I'm like, oh, I ain't nobody, and people are just looking at me like, no, you're somebody. So
it's always, you've always heard, it's always better to hear thoughts from others because we internalize stuff, and sometimes we can be our worst critics, or sometimes we can be overinflated, our egos. So it's always cool to hear someone humble you, and also good to hear somebody praise you. So
yeah, absolutely, and I am always here for the positive energy. So okay, so you said pretty much where you are from. So is that actually where you grew up? So it wasn't like you were born there. You kind of grew up there. Like, did you leave there, go somewhere else, and then you came back? And like, did you grow up there and stay there pretty much like the whole time, or did you like move around, travel, or any?
Yeah, born and raised, yes, in Houston. But I had a cool dynamic. So my grandparents are from small town Louisiana. That's where my mother's from.
Okay.
And that's back in the day when we got out of school. You was out of school for a full 3 months. I was gone. I was shipped off to small town Louisiana and raised there. So I have a cool city type of country background. So I love the dynamics. I'm kind of a city country boy.
Mm-hmm.
But I had that dynamic growing up. And then I didn't leave home permanently until college, and I went to Alabama A&M University, shout out Bulldogs. I went to school there, moved back to Houston, and then I moved and lived in Atlanta, and then I lived in Georgia, other places for a little while. But I've been back in Houston, hell, oh man, since when did I come back? Oh 05, oh 03. So I've been back since then.
For a while. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I get it. That sounds like me because I grew up down deep south of Virginia, but then I went to
Okay.
Maryland, DC area, and I was there for like
Yeah.
16 years. But then I moved back and I've been here like pretty much for the last 10 years. So,
Okay.
and then I
Yeah.
go back and forth, and I was back and forth for work a lot too. So, but
Gotcha.
I always had a place south because of my parents, and I always wanted to be close to them, but I always had like a part-time place up north. So because that's where the money was. So I had to make it work. So I definitely get it. Cool. So growing up, okay, because I follow you, I follow your story. I know exactly like what you do, but growing up, what did you want to be?
I want to be Michael Jordan. Like,
Okay.
duh.
Okay. So you
No,
wanted to
but
be.
yeah, I want to be an NBA basketball player. And I got close, but not quite as far. But growing up, I wanted to be an NBA basketball player. And outside of that, I want to do whatever my grandfather or my dad was doing at the time because those were my heroes. And so, but when you had that, I always had a love for cars too. I always had love for cars as a kid, very small child. But at that age, you thought, I was taught to dream big and you can get whatever you want. So hell, I want to be Michael Jordan, the next one.
Right. So did
Right.
you play ball? Like, did you play ball in school?
Yeah.
Did you play
So
overseas?
I actually I did get a scholarship to Alabama and I played basketball there. And I had opportunity. That's when the G League and the D League was first started. And I was in camp there, and I got some opportunities overseas. But interesting enough, I have a kinesiology degree along with an educational from E through 12, and I had to finish a semester of student teaching to finish my degree. And so I had the opportunity to leave. I had contracts in place, blah blah blah. But I was like, you know what? These contracts aren't life changing money. I need to finish my degree. Then I'll figure out what I want to do from that after that. So I stayed to finish my degree, and then the kind of passion just kind of shifted.
Mhm.
To okay, let's go ahead and get into life. I want to do some other things, just kind
Yeah.
of move forward that way. So I did play at a pretty high level, and then I just kind of decided not. I didn't want to chase it forever because I didn't want to turn around and be 40 and been playing overseas and then come back and have to start from scratch like a lot of overseas guys that I know that didn't
Mhm.
make life changing money. So I decided to stay and just get into the workforce and start living life.
Do you regret it?
I don't. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. Because I actually got into the school system. I taught and I coached kids,
Mhm.
and people automatically see me. I'm 6'6", and they would ask me, "Why didn't you go to the NBA?" Like I had a choice. Like, and I
Right.
quite frankly, I tell people, guess what? I wasn't good enough, and there's nothing wrong with that. I
It's
knew I wasn't good enough. I was good enough to make some money, go overseas and stuff like that, but be away from home. And then I was just kind of thinking rational about it. I didn't have overinflated expectations of where my career could go. So I don't regret it at all. No.
yeah. That's pretty cool. I played ball in school too, so
Okay.
I
All right.
loved it. I
That's what's
played ball
up.
for like 4 years. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, so what did you end up becoming? So grown Rashid,
Right.
adult Rashid, what did you end
Yeah.
up becoming in
Yeah.
your life?
So the plan after kinesiology and I got my education degree. It was great. You know how important advisors are in college. And when I first got there, I was like, yeah, I want to go to chiropractic college. I want to be a chiropractor. I want to be a doctor of chiropractic. And I want a
Wow.
straight kinesiology or biology degree. And he was like, you know what? I think you need to do something, a dual, just in case, because you're a former athlete or you're an athlete at the time. You man, just get that education degree. Just get it. Just get a physical education degree, just in case. And I thank him to this day for that. And so initially, I left college and graduated and moved back to Houston, and I enrolled in chiropractic college. And I was doing good there, but my father passed away, very
Mm,
young age. He passed away at 57, and
wow.
that kind of threw me for a loop. Kind of
Yeah.
threw me for a little bit because he was sick. He didn't even get to see me graduate. And I jumped right back into school in chiropractic. And then he passed, and he had all these dreams of entrepreneurship, owning something, having the Floyd family name, pass it down, this, that, and the third. So I kind of had a refocus and readjustment of my career path. And a good buddy of mine, former teammate of mine, was coaching college basketball in Georgia. And I was just kind of at a crossroads. He was like, man, come down here and coach with me, man. We'll be young and just going after it. He was the head coach. I'll come be your assistant. So I just packed up everything and moved and started coaching basketball in college. And that gave me some fulfillment there. So parlayed that into getting a college coaching job at University of Houston. So that brought me back to Houston. And then I got to secondary school, started being a middle school coach. And 1 year after being a middle school coach, I was the head high school basketball coach. So I coached
That's so
basketball and taught school
cool.
for 9 years. Yeah, up
Right.
until 2013, until I got in the car business. Yep, yep.
That's amazing because it's like
So
even
complete 180, right?
it is. But the thing is it's crazy how you feel like this is the path that you're gonna go with your life, with the overseas playing ball, and then you come back and it's like you're like, but you still get into it, and then it's like you're teaching now, and it's like a
Yeah,
double. It's like a double plus kind of thing. I like that. You know what I mean? Like you're still doing, something that you love doing, and like you're
yeah,
educating,
exactly.
and,
Right,
you did
exactly.
it for almost a whole decade. So that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
So okay, so
Thank you.
after 9 years of doing that, you
Yeah.
stop teaching ball. Then what
Hmm.
do you start doing?
Yeah, so my son was born
Uh,
the last year I taught school. He was born in 2013. And he was born at the end of school. He was born in May 28th. And we had like a week of school left. And I said, because I knew he was going to be born at that time, I had tons of vacation. I'm just going to take off I'm not going to go back to school. I'm just take off. When he's born, I'll have the summer. And then, the summertime, he comes, he's born, and the light of my life. You have children. And it was like I started taking a life assessment. I was like, coaching is great. I'm a head high school coach at the time. We all know there's no money in teaching. And I was getting berated by parents, just unrealistic expectations. They're trying to get me fired. I'm in parent meetings all the time and doing all this kind of crazy stuff. And the overall theme of it came down to basketball and then their kids not being good enough and me not being a good enough coach to make their kids good. Like I'm done with something. So I started evaluating that. I thought I was having ulcers. I was so stressed out. And it was coming from us. It was coming from my black parents at the end of the day. And I was at a school that was affluent. So my black parents were very well off. They were middle class, upper middle class working professionals. But at the end of the day, they treated me as less than. Like I'm not a professional. I went to college for this. I didn't get my credentials off the back of a Cracker Jack box, and I played at a high level. If you don't trust me and believe in my experience and my education, then what am I doing here? And
right.
at the end of the day, it was all rooted in playing. You never hear from the good players' parents. You never hear from them. So I was like, you know what? And my ex-wife, my wife at the time, she was like, hey, you want to take a shift, do what you want to do, and just see what you want to do. You've got the summer to take your time and do that. So interestingly enough, I was going to buy a Cadillac. I was going to go buy an Escalade, and a buddy of mine, a mutual friend, was working there, and I was telling him how burned out I am from coaching. It's never the kids. I love, love, love the kids. The kids are awesome.
Sorry.
Um, but parents was a mess. So anyway, I was talking to him. He's like, man, you would kill it selling cars. He's like,
Yeah.
man, you would kill it. He had just left the sales force, and they promoted him to finance manager. He said, brother, you can take my place.
That's
I'll send you all my clients.
yeah.
I'll help you. I'll teach you. Da, 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 da. He said, why don't you just try it? You got summertime. I was still getting paid, and I wasn't working because I was off for summer. I'm like, you know what? The hell with it. Let me try it.
Yeah.
My first day on the job, I sold a car. And after that, it was like drugs in my veins. I was like, what the hell? Like, what have I been missing? Like, this is awesome because it's competitive. Like, it gave me that because it's 100% commission. I decided to turn down a salary. I wanted to just bet on myself, go 100% commission. You don't kill, you don't eat. And that was just the competitive juices. So I kind of had that coaching and basketball type of life anyway. So that was it just manifests itself in a different area.
Right.
And boom, it was just like, next thing I know, the first full year in the business, I was the #1 Cadillac salesperson in the country. And, never looked back.
That's tight. And people don't realize, but you make a lot, like, and I know it's long hours with car sales.
Wow.
You work like 7 days a week, but
Yes.
it's a lot of money selling cars. Because I used to date a car salesman. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
I
So
know like how much money you can make doing it. He used to talk about how much money he made all the time. And I used to be like, I'm about to go start selling Hondas.
Right. I mean, of course, just like you have broke lawyers and rich lawyers. So it's always how hard you work. But there's a bunch of broke car salesmen, but there's tons of rich ones and rich ones and well off. And in like the first month, I was like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I don't have to check emails of parents wanting meetings and telling me I ain't worth the whatever and telling me how bad I am and this and the third, and I'm stressed out. And I made more in 3 weeks than I make in a month, like in 2 months in teaching. Like, wait a minute. So yeah, so I was out, never turned back.
I get it. It's like, dang, I don't got to sell nothing illegal, and like, hold on. Like, it does make you think about things for real. I get it. I've been there.
It does. It definitely does.
But we talk about you. Okay, so you said you started selling Cadillacs. Now, is that because you sell cars now, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you started selling Cadillacs. Like, how did you move up? Like, what do you sell now? Okay, so you sold Cadillacs. What did you sell after that? Like, what type of cars? Did you gradually move up? You're like Cadillacs, then you're like BMWs, then Mercedes, then, you know what I mean? Or did you jump from one thing straight to the next, or how was that?
So working for a dealer, I've only sold Cadillacs. I only sold Cadillac. So that was my entry level. So I started at, the luxury sector of Cadillac, and then just worked my way up through the ranks. And what made I went on my own right at the beginning, like 2 weeks before the country shut down in 2020. You talk about scared out of my mind. So I go on my own at that point because I had learned the business and I was tired. Because at dating a car salesman, people don't really know. Your time is dominated. Dominated. You make great money, but you're always working.
Always.
And at this point, I had gone through a divorce. My son is not living with me, and I want to maximize my time with my son. Quality of life at that point, that's all I was thinking about. So I had learned the business. I learned the front, the middle, and back end of the business. And I felt confident with my book of business and my knowledge of the business, I could go out on my own. So I would get calls from clients of mine who bought Cadillacs from me. And for the most part, you've got pretty, well-off people that can afford Cadillacs and stuff of that nature. And I was having guys that would buy these Escalades for the soccer mom, their wife that would, do that and third. And you had powerful women coming in, working at Halliburton and oil and gas buying. So I was like, they would call me and ask me their opinion about other expensive or high-line cars.
Right.
So the light bulb went off. And I'll never forget this. I had one client of mine was looking at a Rolls Royce. And he called me about it and his thoughts. And he told me, he said, man, you know what? I'm sorry. I was at a Rolls Royce dealership just visiting, right? And I took a couple of pictures and video, put on my Instagram. This was years ago. And he was like, you work there now? I was like, no. He's like, bro, I went up there the other day looking for a car. Those guys can't sell nothing. You would run circles around them. They're awful. And okay, the light bulb kind of went off. Right. And so that was kind of what the contributing factor to make me go out on my own.
Okay, so you stopped selling Cadillacs and then you started your own dealership?
So what I started was my own concierge brokerage service, right? So focusing on business professionals, athletes, and entertainers who don't have the time to search the internet, go and sit in a dealership 3 to 4 hours, go do all this back and forth. Jeez. So as you get, most of us, when we buy a home, what do? We call a realtor. Right. You need to go to court, we call an attorney. to
Yeah.
represent us. Why not do that? Because what's the second, if you do your research and knowledge, just us talking, what's the second or what's the most expensive thing that you've ever bought with the exception of a home? Most times it's a car.
Right.
That's our second most expensive purchase, if you think about it. Whatever type of real estate, whether if it's commercial, if you just bought land or if you bought a home. The second most expensive thing we buy nowadays are cars. So why not have somebody to represent you and know all the ins and outs of that and be a concierge and a conduit for those type of things where you don't have to do that. Shows up at your door, paperwork signed, sealed, delivered, hands off. So that was the concept. And I'm growing into, I do have my own dealership. I have my own dealership license, but I don't carry a ton of inventory. I buy a car that I know is already sold. So I don't have to sit on a lot of overhead because you pay interest and taxes and all kinds of stuff. You have a huge floor plan. Sitting cars are sitting there. They look good, but I'm not in the museum business. You sit there, you're paying for that.
Right.
Right.
I have so many questions. I'm sorry.
So,
Okay,
yeah, I
because
found
that's
a unique niche.
genius.
Yeah. So I don't own anything. I don't own cars.
Right.
Like I said, unless I have a special car that I know I can't lose on, okay,
Yeah.
I'll buy it and I'll hold it and I'll know I'll sell it and I'll make my money.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of the concept, and it's grown from that now.
Okay, now any questions that I ask you, of course, you can always decline if you don't feel comfortable answering them, just to let you know. Because I know we talked about the questions backstage, but I forgot to mention that. So okay, you're a concierge service for luxury vehicles for your customers and clients. Now, if you go online and if you're like, oh, okay, this is the BMW 650i that my customer wants. It's black, 4-door, same year, this mileage they want, XYZ. It's perfect. This is the thing. So you let them know. They purchase the car. You go get the car and you deliver the car. So pretty much you're in the concierge service, so you don't make money off of the sale of the vehicle. You make money from the services that you provide, from the service that you provide.
Yeah, well, both actually. Both. So I'm like an attorney. Like I have a retainer. You have to sign up with me, and we have an exclusive. Like we have an exclusive. It depends. It can be negotiated, but we have an exclusive from 60 to 90 days during your car search. So if you go buy another car just randomly, then you owe me like what we agreed upon. So I have an initial startup retainer that the client pays, right? Because you pay, people pay for services. So my
Right.
service is no different. Excuse me. So I have a retainer with them, and then I now bring the client to the dealer, and I negotiate on the client's behalf, right? But I'm bringing plus business to the dealer that they wouldn't ordinarily have. So I make them pay me as well. They have to pay me a commission just like they would pay a salesperson that works for them, because I'm selling them a car, right? So it's a negotiated commission that I get from the dealership that I'm selling their vehicle, because they're going to pay somebody. They got to pay me. You're not going to pay you to sell that car. They got to pay a salesperson their commission. So, and that stuff can all be negotiated.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this, and I just want you to tell me if I'm right or wrong. So, say for instance, I go on the internet, I'm searching for a vehicle because I'm when it comes to stuff like that, I'm very controlling. I want to do it myself. I want to check it myself. I want to make sure. I want to check it for the next 3 weeks. I'm gonna be obsessed with it. That's just who I am. I'm gonna find that specific vehicle that I want, which I actually did for my car, and I was like, that's the one. That's it. I'm going to test drive it. Yeah. I went in there. I was like, that's the car that I want. Could I have said, ain't nobody sell this car to me? I want you to take X amount of dollars off, or you need to write me a check for I don't understand. Like, how does that work? Like, let me know so I can be making money. I need to be selling my own cars to myself.
Right. No, it doesn't quite work that way. They'll assign a salesperson to it, because in most dealerships, when you sell a vehicle, there's there's surveys. You probably got a survey after you bought a car. There's surveys, and then there's a checklist that the dealership has to go through. So dealerships and franchises have to adhere to a certain approval level through their surveys, right? That's how they get kickback money from the manufacturers. So they have to ensure that they're above, let's say, a 90% threshold on good customer service and good customer feedback, because they can lose hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars, right? So they wouldn't give that to you, because then you're not certified to sell that vehicle, right? So how I work is I'm going to sell the car, but then I'm going to pass the what we call the punch to a salesperson. So then they get the survey, they have to answer all the questions, and then the dealership still gets credit and gets their money at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter. They wouldn't give that to you, because they don't know. Then they'd have zero control over it, right?
Right.
So that's a good idea, but yeah, they wouldn't do that.
Right.
I
I'm
like
like,
what you're
wait a minute. And plus, too, you said you have your dealership license or something like that?
Yes. So so there's you have to be really, really creative, because in the state of Texas, they don't recognize car brokers. Texas is the good old boy system. They don't want to rock the boat. They want to keep things traditional. They want to keep each other in each other's like sharing of the wealth. They don't want an outsider like me to come in. Like in California, you can actually get a broker's license. They allow you to broker all day long. So for me, to counteract that, I'm a dealer, right? So then you can pay a dealer to dealer, because for auditing purposes, you just paid my dealership, right? You didn't pay me, you paid my dealership a consulting fee or another fee, what they call a dealer fee, dealer to dealer, which can be audited, because sometimes these dealers are owned by big groups. A lot of people heard of Sonic Automotive, Auto Nation. Those are the big groups. They don't allow brokers at all. They really they shun those type of things. So for me to be fully credentialed to have a dealer's license, it's very easy for them to justify paying me. If they ever get audited, they're like, well, who did we pay X amount of dollars? We pay Level Luxury Automotive, LLC, W-9, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So that's how those works. When you have to, like in the state of Texas, you have to work around some of those things, because not everybody recognizes brokers. But it's kind of like the electric car. Nobody wanted it 15 years ago. Now there's no escaping. Like everything's coming. So you got to get on board. So this broker thing, this whole 9 yards, people shopping from home, it's coming. It's just a matter of time before everybody recognizes it.
So how can one get a broker's license to sell cars?
Well,
I'm sure it's different. I was about to say, I know it's different. Okay.
Yeah. And for me, you have to get a dealer's license here. So I have to have a physical address, a physical place for my dealership. You have to have bonded, you have to have insurance, you have to have tons of stuff. You have to have, it's not just like, just going to sign up to get a defensive driving course or something. You've got to really have, and then they come and check it out, and they come periodically, check on your dealership and stuff like that. So,
so everybody that's watching this and will be watching this, is real serious. You just can't go get a license like your driver's license and a business license and think you're just gonna open up an online boutique. It's a little bit harder than that. Wow, I never knew any of that stuff. Okay, so what kind of brokerage deals do you do, and with your concierge service, like what kind of vehicles do you mostly work with, or your clients are interested in you finding for them?
Primarily luxury and exotic cars, like from Cadillac, BMW, Mercedes, all the way to Lamborghini, Ferrari, Bentley, Rolls Royce, the whole 9 yards. But it's funny, a lot of people ask me, do you sell regular cars to regular people? Absolutely. I'm a car guy. I sell cars to regular people. I sell regular cars. But my focus, my target is luxury and exotics. Just like doctors, they all go to medical school, but one decides to focus on a certain field of medicine. You be a OBGYN, you be a dentist, you be whatever. I am a car dealer, but I focus on luxury and exotics. So, and that's primary. Those people who can afford those type of things don't have time to go shop for cars. So again, people will pay for a service. If it conveniences them and it makes their life easier, they'll pay for it.
Facts. Because you'll pay
Yeah.
for
And then
it.
to your point, for those people who super duper really, really want to be hands on, they want to handle it, everything. I also offer a consultation service to whereas you can go do all the heavy lifting you want. If you want to send me the numbers, I'll look over them for you and tell you if that's a good deal or not. But I mean, you're going to have to pay me for that. But I still feel like I'm going to save you at least enough to pay for myself.
So after they pay you and you save them the money, will they still come out good, or will they come out pretty much even, but at least they had someone coach them through it to say, you're not getting gypped. You know what I mean?
Right. For the most part, they're still going to come out on the good side. Yes.
See, that's good to know. Wow. What is the most expensive car you did a deal for?
Oh boy. Great question. The most expensive one would be a Rolls Royce Cullinan. That's the SUV, and that one sold for $575.
Wow.
American dollars.
Okay, real quick, and I'm not trying to get in your pockets. You don't have to answer. So, say for instance, and you could just pick one. What type of money or what kind of money can you make doing a deal like this? Like, give me just an example of any vehicle if you want.
Right. No, that's a great question because people ask that all the time. Like, it depends on how the deal is set up, how much room the dealership has, how flexible the client is. If so a lot of people automatically assume I sell the Rolls Royce for $575 and I make tons of money. I did make good money on that one, but my point is sometimes I can make more money on selling a Cadillac Escalade versus a Lamborghini or Rolls Royce. Like, so to your point, like to your question, you could make as little as $1,500 to 30 grand in one deal. It's just that fluid. Like, it just all depends on how the car is set up, how much room there's in the car. It just really, really depends. I've made selling a Lamborghini, I've made $1,000. Like, so what the thing is what I had to learn was you can't get caught up in the big grosses. Because the big grosses, and I look at it like this, the big grosses take you on vacation. The small ones pay your bills, period. Like, and you have to get those because they add up.
Right.
1,000 here, 1,500 here, 500 here. Like, you just boom, 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 and then boom, you hit a big lick, another big lick. Then you're back to making $1,000. So it just depends. Every car is not the same. Obviously, I shoot for the moon on those super, super exotics, but sometimes I just have to walk away for the relationship. I've done that before too, because I know this guy's going to buy 5-6 cars from me in the next couple of years. I'm okay with making $1,000 on his first deal,
right?
$1,500 on the next one, and the third one I might make 15 grand. You just never know. But I value the relationship more so because I want a customer for life.
Right. So with your job, so just for example, a Monday through Friday work schedule. So Monday through Friday, like do you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you work out, you do this, you do XYZ, you start work 8 a.m., you finish at 10 p.m., or is your job 24/7? Like, what is your work schedule like?
Well, I'm always on. I'm always answering my phone 24/7. Simone will tell you that. And then obviously, from dating a car dealer, there's been times where we had dinner plans at 9 o'clock, and you've gotten that call. I got to cancel. I'm going to be late. I'm finishing up a deal. That stuff happens. But I'm up at 5 a.m. I'm in the gym, and I'm back home. My goal is to be back home by 7, maximum 7:30. Shower, breakfast, and I'm in the office by 9 or before 9, and I'm on the grind. And then sometimes, like today, I knew I was doing this interview and I knew I wanted to water my grass. I came home at 4 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and then the night before I was in the office till 8. So it just depends. But
Yeah.
I feel that it's important, and I would say this to entrepreneurs, and you know this as well. Sometimes you catch yourself. I had to catch myself, and it's like, especially you, me and Simone, where we were at the time was in a new relationship. It's fun, it's cool, it's exciting. Staying up all hours of the night. We're watching movies, we're doing this, popcorn, and it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's all fun, but at the same time, as an entrepreneur, you have to be careful. And I told her this. She's an entrepreneur, and I told her this. I said, you know what, babe? I was like, you know what? I'm getting to a point where it seems like every night's the weekend, and I don't like that. That makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like every night's the weekend. I'm in bed at 1, 2 in the morning.
Right.
And I didn't like that. And then
you start having animosity towards your mate. You be looking at him like
right. And we both up. I'm like, we gotta go to work in the morning. Like, so it was one of those adjustments you gotta make, because when you do that, you can get up when you want. Next thing you know, it's 9, 10 o'clock. Well, okay, on the East Coast, it's 11, 12. Yep. And my overseas clients, it might be 5, 6. So you're missing a whole day. So anyway, that's been my structure that was my structure when I was working at a dealership. Mm-hmm. And that was my structure when I first got into, running my own business. And I'm back to that structure. And I feel so much more powerful and more energized even, and then more successful.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. Now, oh God, because I have so many questions. Like, I'm trying to stick to my, we went over the questions. I'm trying to stick to my questions, but I have so many questions. Okay, so let's just, okay. So with the sales, okay. You know what? I'm not, because that's like a whole nother thing. Okay. This is just a personal question that I just because of what you said. So say, for instance, you have a client that's overseas. Okay. I don't know if anyone wants to know this, but they're overseas and they want to buy a vehicle. How do you handle something like that? Are you like the car on the boat? Like how do you do something like that that's overseas?
Yeah, absolutely. So I ship and sell cars all around the world. It's just a different dynamic when you're transferring of funds. But other than that, it's all negotiating. It's a car deal. And especially since the pandemic, and I've always done this. I've always been in the cars. But people don't go touch and test drive cars anymore. Like, I'm going to give you a thorough walk around. I'm going to give you a thorough video, the whole 9 yards. And I have dealer relationships that I trust that's going to tell me, hey, this car's top notch, it's ready to go. It's showroom ready for your client. Boom. And they trust me. So other than that, it's just, I got to get it shipped over there. So we have to worry about, transporting and going through customs and all that kind of stuff. That's the difficult part. But at the end of the day, it's all metal. We're moving metal. It's all negotiations. It's all money. A lot of times those guys or ladies are, sometimes they get a little impatient because you got to go through, especially with COVID, so much is shut down. I had 2 cars. I had 2 Porsches on the boat in the middle of the ocean that caught on fire. Yes, I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah, I had 2 clients that Porsches, they're at the bottom of the ocean. Like, yeah. And they had been already waiting for them like a year and a half. So imagine that phone call. You know what I'm saying? That's an extreme circumstance, but, it's the life and sometimes the business.
And honey, everybody, that's what insurance is for. So if you own a business, make sure you have insurance. Goodness.
Right. I'm glad it wasn't on my watch. That was the shipper or the freight or the transport company's insurance that had to eat that.
Oh, wow. Of course, they had to have Porsches that day on the boat.
No, you know what? It was crazy. I was so happy I didn't have other cars on there because it was a mix of Porsches, Bentleys. What else was on there?
Oh, shoot.
Those are the 2 that mainly stand out that I know. So it was a bunch coming over. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, it made the news. Y'all look that one up.
Oh my God. And they had to eat all, well, you know what? Their insurance company, oh my God. Well, you know what?
Mm,
They had to have really good insurance. I'm sure they have to.
yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
let me get back on track. So, how do you
Yeah.
market and advertise your business? Like, I know you're on social media, but like, what else do you do? Like, how do people find you? Like, hey, I think I want to. And I know with car salesmen, like, it's word of mouth. I do know, like, that's like
Yeah.
number one thing.
It's the
But
number one
like,
advertising.
exactly. But do you do
Yeah.
anything else other than that in social media?
You, you know what? I really don't. I'm a super social person.
Yeah.
Um, and I've always how I've always prospected for business. I've always been a closer,
Hmm.
always. And if you look at, you follow my Monday motivational sales motivation stuff. I
Yeah.
talked about how I met the guy on the air in the airplane
Hmm.
at the airport. We're on the same plane. I had an awful travel day. Awful travel day. I was getting to Pittsburgh to go support Simone because she was getting honored by the School of Business at her alma mater. And I had to cancel the flight. Plus, it was awful.
Oh, I
But
heard
I'm
about that. And you ended
right.
up driving the car back or something like that,
Yes,
right?
yeah, absolutely. But I'm always on. I noticed a guy who looked like, my clientele, and I approached him. And it's funny, I'm texting him now. I'm actually texting him right now because we're working on a deal. I'm selling his 2010 Rolls Royce, and he's buying a new one that I found for him in Scottsdale, Arizona. I never been to Scottsdale. I haven't seen the car. This is the first time I'm working with them, and we're putting a deal together to finish it up. But I opened my mouth and I spoke to him. So I've
Mm.
always been a prospector. I've always been a closer. But other than word of mouth and social media, that's all I do. But I tell people all the time, you know, in my profession or any profession where you work for yourself, or if you're a commission sales, closed mouth don't get fed, or closed
Facts.
mouth don't get paid. I like to say closed mouth don't
Facts.
get paid. So
Yes, I'm an
that's kind of
entrepreneur, so
how I
I
do.
understand. I get it. I get it. I'm always talking to people. I always say you never know what you can
Yeah,
learn from who, and
you never know.
who knows who, and and those are the same people that'll place your name at the tables where your name would have never been in the beginning or in the first place had you not even spoken to them or gotten to know them or communicated with them. So I completely
Yeah,
agree. I get it. That's why I talk to everybody.
yeah. I
Okay.
mean, just as recent as that 2 weeks ago, me and Simone went to Atlanta. It was a
Mhm.
business trip slash pleasure. We're coming back. I see a young lady with a Clutch Sports hoodie on. Well, I
Mhm.
know that's LeBron and Rich Paul's agency. I'm gonna say something. I'm
Right.
like, yo, I love your hoodie. Where can I get one from? Because I want one for my son. Because my son loves basketball. He's an aspiring
Right.
NBA star, just like his dad was growing up. And boom, I met her. I introduced myself. Come to find out, she's about to fly to Vegas for the NFL draft, and she's a player representative for Clutch Sports. Like, come on, you can't.
You
And
cannot beat that. That's so
yeah,
tight.
I gave her my card. She didn't have one to give me, but I got her name and I remembered it. Boom. I follow her. I found her on Instagram. I don't know if it's going to turn anything,
Yeah.
but I
But
got
the
a better
connection
shot
has
than not
already
saying
been
nothing.
made. Yeah.
Yeah.
The connection's been made. Yeah, that's all you need. Wow, that's amazing. Okay. Man, you oh wow, that was amazing. Okay, so moving on. So you have a podcast on YouTube, and the
Yes.
podcast is called,
Ages and stages.
and you have this podcast, and everyone's been hearing the name Simone throughout this interview.
Right, right.
For
That's
the
my
people
baby.
that do not know who Simone is, please let them know, and please let us know or tell us a little bit more about Ages and Stages.
Okay, well, Simone is my girlfriend, and we were on a reality show that you were on as well, called I was about to say called Asian Stages, called Ready to Love, and we met there. And shortly after the show wrapped, we started dating and been inseparable ever since. So that's my dog, that's my ride or die, that's my baby. Um, Ages and Stages. Again, I listen to people. I don't think I know. I don't think I have all the answers. I never. because I learned from when I was coaching from my head coach. When you think you know everything and you think you have all the answers, you need to get out of whatever profession you're in.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know what? I'm gonna use that for one of my Monday talks. Hold on.
I get it. No, take your time, because I'd be like, notes. Hey Siri, open notes.
Yeah. So God, I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going. Oh, so a buddy of mine was like, hey man, people want to still hear from you after Ready to Love. People want to hear your perspective, your thoughts on relationships, any advice, love, relationships, the whole 9 yards. People still want to hear from you. I was like, really, you think? He's like, yes, people want to hear from you from the show. I was like, well, okay, let me start a podcast. So initially, I started the podcast by myself. And of course, the name, I don't know if you watched my season, the name just kind of came in. I used the term Ages and Stages on the finale when I was asked a question by Tommy. And it was super apropos for that. So I just started interviewing all my castmates who I was comfortable with. It was easy. And we just started talking about life, love, and relationships. And so it started building momentum there. And then me and Simone started to date after that. And you know, Simone's got all these bright ideas and thoughts and stuff like that. So she goes, you know what? Maybe we should start reviewing Ready to Love. You know, because people love Ready to Love. We'd be the first ones to do it. We had been on the show. We're the first, so we have a unique perspective. And to be honest with you, I wasn't in love with the thought at first. Yeah. I wasn't in love with the thought because we weren't all the way dating just yet. And I was like, you know, I don't know. So anyway, we talked about it. I thought more about it. And Simone will tell you this. You got to tell me something, give me time to process and think about it. And then I'll come back to you and ask follow-up questions, or I'll be like, you know what? Yes, I want to do this, or no, I don't think it's a good idea. I came back to her. I said, you know what? I think it's a great idea. So I actually have to give Simone all the credit for what we do now for Ages and Stages, being a guy and girl perspective, having been on the show. And obviously we do other relationship stuff. So anyway, that is the gist of Ages and Stages. It's called Life, Love, Relationships, and all that other shit.
Yeah, well, that's amazing because I watch you guys. When I was on my season, I was watching y'all review my season. So
yeah, sure.
I did used to chime in. So with that and what you just explained, what Ages and Stages, what you guys discuss, who is your target audience?
It's the same people that watch Ready to Love. It's for the most part, it's 30 and up. You know, educated, you know, middle class, upper middle class, working, you know, hardworking people, like-minded, you know, kind of all trying to get out of life, whatever there is out there for us. We're all on this hamster wheel trying to get to the next level, try to take care of our family. So I think it's like-minded people of a certain age, 30 and up, married, single, been divorced, gone through it. And I think they can identify with a lot of things we bring to the table, because I think me and Simone's life experiences are different. Yeah. You know, I was married for 10 years, divorced with a child. Simone's never been married, no children. You know, she career oriented in the beginning. And now, you know, so she's able to give a different perspective through her dating trials and tribulations. And I've given able to different perspective of being married and divorced and being a single dad and trying to landscape and navigate through life going forward. So that's kind of our audience.
Yeah, I love it. So if someone is interested in starting a podcast, because you guys' podcast, you have been very successful and, you know, you have thousands and thousands of followers. So can you give anybody any advice on how to start their own podcast?
Yes, get you a Simone.
Oh God, that might be hard because Simone ain't no.
Right. Exactly.
Hey,
she's one
everybody's
of one.
short because it's only one.
Right. So I would say I'll be the first to tell you. People tune in not for me. People could care less about me. Like, it's all about Simone, and she is uniquely talented. And I told her she's one of one. I told her she's destined for TV, the screen, whatever she wants to do in life. But I will say this: when I was first starting it, you wanted everything to be perfect, and that's just in general. I think I just talked about that this past Monday as entrepreneurs. You just got to start. You have to start. So out there, who cares? Who cares? I guarantee you, nobody else in your friend group is doing it. Like, and you're gonna hear from these people who give you all these suggestions. Well, where your podcast at? I'll wait. You have to do it. You just have to jump out there, do it yourself. Be okay with the fallout. Be okay with the consequences. Be unique and just do it. That's the first step. Just do it, like Nike said. And if you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll never do it, ever. Other than that, just be genuine in what you talk about. Don't try to be don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to follow somebody else's lead or somebody else's podcast, because people are going to see that. People are going to see your carbon copy of everything, and it's not unique and it's not genuine. So that's what I would say. Just do it. Be genuine and be yourself, and just don't put too much pressure on yourself. But also know it's work. It's a lot of work.
You gotta work.
You know that it's work. It is work. It's like scheduled, especially if you're a busy professional. She's running her own company. I'm running my own, and I'm like, man, we got to film again. You know, Jesus, really? And Simone's like, hey, we got to put out some content this week. What? Yeah. Really? And then she'll get tired, and I'll be like, hey, babe, we got to put out some content this week.
Yeah.
You need to do a ladies panel. I need to do a men's panel, something. Yeah. So it is a lot of work. It's another job. It is another job. So it's not for the faint of heart. I tell you that. You'll tap out real quick.
Yeah, the lazy, weak. I mean, it's that. That was my next question. How often do you guys record, premiere, go live, like in order to stay consistent, especially on YouTube's and with their algorithms? Like, how often do you guys post?
Well, it's pretty easy when the show is going, because we're still reviewing Ready to Love season. So we try to post every Monday night, 8 Central, 9 Eastern Standard Time. Okay. And in the middle of that, I'll throw in a guys panel, which has been really successful. Just from a guy's perspective, we call it the barbershop, and we kind of give you insight to what we talk about. This is great for ladies to kind of see, the men that they're dealing with, kind of, the men are from Mars, women are from Venus type of thing, and kind of understand us a little better. And Simone does the same. So we'll do that when there's a little lull, but that's kind of like when the opportunity presents itself, when I reach out to people who's willing to do it. And then also you'll get more relationship, just in general content. So I don't know if you saw when we exchange credit reports, when you're in a serious relationship and you decide, okay, we're marriage minded, we like each other, we're exclusive. Okay, let's talk about the hard, challenging questions that people kind of skirt around and don't talk about. So we have an episode where we exchange credit reports, stuff like that. And we have a Meet the Parents. We're probably going to release that. It's old, but you guys haven't seen it yet. I met and talked to Simone's dad. So we're going to show that eventually. And then we show our travel experiences. We show me driving cars, because sometimes she got to roll with me. I got to go fly out of town to go get a car, and she'll roll with me. That's our quality time. We spend time together. Yeah. So, so that.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when she went out of town to accept her award, and she rode back with you and stuff like that. Yeah.
We got a big. I'll say that till later. We got a big interview coming up. I think so.
No, you need to talk about it right now. What kind of interview? What do you mean you're going to interview? Yes, we're talking about ages and stages right now, so let's talk about it.
Okay, cool. Well, I just got a confirmation from my guy, my Alabama alumni, and my friend Maurice Scott from Love and Marriage Huntsville. Him and his wife Kimmy we're going to be interviewing Kimmy and Maurice from Love and Marriage Huntsville on May 17th, 8 p.m. Yeah, so that's dope. So me and Maurice went to Alabama A&M together. So did I went with Marceau as well. So I'm trying to get Marceau after that. But we got Kimmy and Maurice come in, interview. We're talking about love, relationships. We're going to get some thoughts on their season, their show. That's going to be May 17th, 8 p.m. That's going to be dope. I'm super excited for that.
Right. Absolutely. And everybody that's watching this now, and anyone that's going to watch the replay before May 17th, if you go down in the description box, the link for Ages and Stages podcast is in the link. Make sure you guys click that. I don't know if you gave me Ages and Stages, but it doesn't matter. Follow them on social media. I'll go ahead and add that after we get off.
I did. You know what?
Because I
You're
don't
right.
think you gave me Ages and Stages as one of the your you remember when I was getting all your
But
information?
I know I got so much going. I be feeling like a Jamaican sometimes. I'm like, man, people gonna
Listen,
retire me saying I got this, I got this. They be like, really? You doing all?
well,
So
guess what? It's gonna be down in the description box. Make sure you follow and subscribe to Ages and Stages podcast. And yeah, definitely May 17th. I know I'll be tuning in, and you guys need to tune in as well.
yes,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be super dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. So they just confirmed that today actually. So I was like, yes, I can talk about it on your show. So
Right.
breaking news. This is
I
exclusive.
know that's the exclusive. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
That's exciting. So we have Girl, Is That Legal?
that's
With a
that's
cute
boo boo.
note.
Oh, she said my dinner's ready. Look at that. See, she's stunned now. She's stunned. That's cap. That's cap.
Oh,
No, I'm just joking.
you said it's Cap. Okay.
Ah.
All right. Well, we need to hurry up because I don't want your dinner to get cold. So, okay. So the next thing is you do have a clothing line. What is the name of your clothing line, and how did you start your clothing line?
It's called Nelson Balka. I started Nelson Balka in '09, right? So in '09, prior to that, I was promoting parties. So I've always been social guy. I've always been kind of doing that. And, I'm from the city. Like, I'm from here. So, I knew a lot of people. So, like, okay, why not leverage those relationships? So I started doing parties and promoting. And then at the time, I was like, okay, I was single. So at the time, I was like, okay, now I get married. I was like, okay, I can't be out in the streets like that in clubs and promoting and doing all that kind of stuff. And then I was an assistant coach. I moved to head coach. So I'm a head high school coach. And now I'm married. I'm like, okay, I can't be in the streets like that. So how do I leverage all these relationships that I have? And I've always been in the clothes and fashion. So it was kind of like an aha moment. And my grandfather had not passed too long after that. And that's the name. My grandfather's name is Nelson Balka. So it was kind of an homage to him. So I wanted to do the clothing line and I didn't know what to call it. And I was like, it's one of those aha moments. Boom, let's call it Nelson Balka. It sounds different. It sounds unique. It sounds rich. It sounds classy, the whole 9 yards. So that's the name. It's my grandfather's name. If you go to the website, it kind of gives you a little breakdown of that. So I started that in '09. I just started putting it on people that I knew that was influencers in the city. I was like, hey, wear this. If you like it, wear it. If you don't, my feelings won't be hurt. Just rock it. So at that point, it just kind of started blowing up in the city. I'm in the Galleria and people are rocking it and this and the third. I'm getting them on all these people, and it just kind of grew from there. But as you know, you're in the fashion industry, like you buy a whole lot of stuff, you start doing this, and I try to start doing everything. And then that stuff's expensive. So, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, now I got a family, I got a son now, you gotta prioritize stuff. So anyway, I'm still here, still doing Nelson Balka, so that's the clothing line. And basically I call it street chic clothing. It's kind of it's stylish stuff you can wear, you can wear it, you can dress it up, you can dress it down, kind of street chic couture.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, like, what kind of products do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right
So,
now, it's mostly t-shirts, and I do stuff for the wintertime. And I have a lot of unisex products, and I have stuff especially for women. So I would hear from women all the time. We love it. We love it. We want you to make something for us.
yeah.
And then so I made stuff like that, and a lot of stuff is unisex. And you know, eh, in the fashion game, it's a lot of ups and downs. It can be expensive. You buy an inventory, just like cars. If I'm buying a car that is sitting there, that's money sitting there that I'm looking at. I'm not making that. So kind of had to readjust the structure of the business and try to not please everybody and kind of keep it to where I can control it and manage it. So that's where I'm at now. And I've got limited products. Most stuff is limited edition, short runs, so I can kind of control my overhead.
Yeah. I'm not sure if, okay, I was about to say, I think my signal is kind of going in and out. We have a bad storm here. So what do
Okay.
you like? What do you like most about what you do? with your jobs and your businesses? Because I can't just say, what do you like most about selling cars? Because you're an entrepreneur, like you're a CEO,
Yeah.
you know, so you have like, what do you love most about being a CEO and an entrepreneur?
The freedom primarily. I mean, it's freedom. It's difficult. It's funny to say because it's super hard work. I work more now than I did for somebody else, but I can still turn it off when I want to. Um, the freedom. I've always wanted, that's kind of been instilled in me from my father. And when my son was born, that put the extra battery in my back. But I just love what I do. If I'm doing something, I enjoy it. So, you know, wise men said, if you do something you enjoy, you'll never work a day in your
Work
life.
a day in your
And the
life.
money will come. Like when you get into something for the money, you'll be disappointed. Because
Yes.
the money will come eventually. If you do what you love, you stay consistent, you keep a good name and reputation, and you work hard, uh, the money will come. And I enjoy the work because I'm not the only, I didn't reinvent the wheel. Like I've got a unique niche, but I'm not
Just
the only one out there doing this. Like I have competition, so that's good for me. I
yeah.
like the fact that I have that competition out there, and I'm trying to stand alone, and the cream rises to the top. So that's my motivation every day, and that's kind of what I love, what I do.
I just said that in a impromptu live I did yesterday because I'm always talking about business as well. And one of the things
Mhm.
I always say is how many breads on the shelf? Like how many milks are in the freezer? How many ice creams are in the freezer? Like it's so many different, like you can't, people are like, but it's saturated. Is it? No, guess what? There's
Yeah,
only one you. It's only one Sabrina.
nobody's you.
Can't nobody
Yep,
do it like
there's
how I
nobody.
do.
Yeah,
It's a
nobody.
lot of people out there.
You're
Yeah.
one of one. Yep. And so what if they're doing it? So what? Like,
Yep.
and that's one of the things I talked about on my Mondays. It's like you're one of one. Nobody can do what you can do. So people aren't buying your business.
They're buying
They're
you.
buying
I
you. They're
try
buying
to
you.
tell people that all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all don't get it. Y'all don't hear me though.
Yeah. Yeah. They're buying you 100%.
Right.
People buy you all the time.
So what do
People
you
buy you
like
all the time.
least about your job?
The uncertainty, like,
That too.
the
That part.
uncertainty of it. I mean, period, point blank. It's stressful. It's a lot of hard work. It's stressful as hell. Because if you don't kill, you don't eat. And I got responsibilities. I've got a son, I've got a mortgage, I've got a woman living with me now. I've got I got to take care of her, my house, my son, the whole 9 yards. And then you'll get, you'll get itchy, you'll get nervous. Like, I'll have a big commission, a big deal, and hell, I might not see another deal for weeks. And I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? I need to get a deal. I need something. I need a little small, a little something. I need to get like, and it's every month. Every month I have that feeling. Every single month. But it always kind of it works out. But
The least.
the thing that bothers you, keeps you up at night. That's the thing about it that is, I was saying negative, but it almost manifests itself into a
Mhm.
positive because you can't
It
sit on your
keeps you
hands.
humble too.
Oh yeah, oh
Keeps
yeah,
you humble.
yeah,
Mm,
100%.
yeah. So I do have this one question in the chat, and I want to say that this is your grandfather's name, where the last
Mhm.
name came from, where it originated from, because it is different.
Yeah. So my grandparents are from Louisiana, and it's a Creole French name. Um, that's where it comes from. So a lot of people mispronounce it all the time.
I know
It's
I did when I said
No, it's
Balka.
okay. It's
I'm
cool. It's cool.
sorry.
It's cool. It's okay. It's Barkay. So who knows who spelled what way back? I don't know how many hundreds of years ago, but that's how it's pronounced.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, that's it. From deep South Southern Louisiana, a little small town. Uh,
Yeah,
Grandfather and his ancestors born on a plantation. And
yeah.
but
My
the thing
family's
about him,
from that too, so
he
I.
was third, fifth grade education, who knows, and extremely worldly, and taught himself how to cook. And he was a renowned chef all over the state, and he would cook for all these. rich folks and cooked for all these people, and he actually was working for the foster family, and one of those kids that he helped raise became the governor of Louisiana.
Mm.
And he was just, yeah, dude was the real deal. So it was very apropos for me to name my line after him. But that's my hero for sure.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, where can people find you?
Primarily, my main page or Instagram would be Rashid underscore the Car God, GAWD. And I'm on LinkedIn, Rashid Floyd. I'm on Facebook, Rashid Floyd. I need to get on TikTok. I'm behind. Like, I'm really behind on TikTok. Like, and all that I do, and I see the value of Instagram. I mean, social media. But
Yeah,
those are primarily where
so
you can find
much
me in my
work.
my. Also, I'm sorry.
I just said it's so much work. Social media is
I
so
know it's
much
work.
work.
It's work. And then my Instagram for the clothing line is NB for Nelson Balka underscore clothing. And the website is Nelson, NELSON, Balka, BALKA.com.
Yeah.
And what else? I don't know. The name of my dealership is, so I'm actually changing the name. The name of the
Really?
new dealership, or it's called Car Gawds Auto Gallery.
Oh, okay. That's what I have though. That's the
Yes,
information.
that's correct. Yes,
Okay.
it used to be level luxury automotive, but I want to have symmetry there. So
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah. So pretty much everything that Rashid said is down in the description box. I am going to add YouTube,
and
but I
ages
do
and
have
stages.
Instagram. Yep, I will be
Mhm.
adding their YouTube podcast, which is Ages and Stages. But the Instagram link will be there. The Car Gawds Auto Gallery link will be there, and NB underscore clothing that will be there as well. So just make sure if you want to connect with Rashid, go down to the description box below, and all that information will absolutely be there. Thank you so much, Rashid. This was so amazing. I couldn't have asked for a better interview. Like, you dropped so many gems, and that's what I'm here
Oh, thank
for.
you.
And I know that's what everyone else is going to be coming to watch this again for. So
Cool.
other
I
than that,
appreciate that. Thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, I
I'm
appreciate
excited
it.
to
I
go.
appreciate it. And that's what the missing link is all about. It's to uplift, to inspire, to educate, to inspire, and build, to gap that bridge with like people out there that don't have the information, and the kids. I hope that their moms and dads let them watch this and say, baby, remember when you said you wanted to sell cars? Yeah, mama,
Yeah,
like, like, watch
you can
this.
do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Yes.
I tell people all the time though, you have to have pride in it. Like,
Yeah.
because sometimes we get a bad rap. Like, they put us right there with lawyers, and it's crazy that I date a lawyer, and we probably in the book as the most people that people don't trust. Like, and then some people are scared of it. It's like, the hell with that. Like, I have pride in what I do. Like,
Right.
this is what I do, and then I
Yeah.
love it. And I'm good at it. And so for those who want to get into business, uh, you can't leave your job and disconnect from it and act like you don't do that because you're scared about what people think.
Absolutely. I live like that anyway, my life period.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much. Thank you to everyone that's been in the chat. Thank you to everyone that is watching this in live. Thank you for everyone that's going to watch the replay. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Don't forget to comment down below how you felt about this episode. And also, if you know anyone that is interested in being or selling cars and having a podcast and starting a clothing line, and if so, don't forget to hit up Rashid. He got you. Okay. So let
Absolutely.
him know when you're ready to buy your Rolls Royce, BMW, Mercedes, or Honda. He got you guys.
Yeah, I got
Anyway,
it.
until
I
the
got
next
it.
link.